Peace, love, and vibes. What's good with y'all, man? My name is Mike, MMYYKK, and we're starting a new segment today, and it's called Sound Alchemy. And you know it's about to be some scientific shit. So the intention behind Sound Alchemy is to share with you guys some of the principles of sound design and some techniques around sound synthesis by recreating some of my favorite synth sounds. Let's get into it. This is a sound that I have been chasing after for many years. I'm not gonna say how many. This sound always inspires nostalgia, it inspires joy, and it inspires me to read. That's right. It's the reading rainbow sound.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high.
From the extensive research that I did, and by research I mean Googling, I was able to find a Reddit thread that talks through how this song came to be. A Reddit user by the name McLean says that he emailed Steve Horlick, who is a sound designer from the show. According to Steve, and I quote, "The butterfly sound was created on the Buchla Series 200 electric music box. Actually, it didn't have a keyboard at all. It had a touch-activated voltage source, and the random pulsation was programmed into the module called the Multiple Arbitrary Function Generator, controlled by the source of uncertainty." And you know it's about to be some scientific shit. Here's an image of the Buchla, and here's a 3-second clip of the Buchla in action. Now, I don't have a Buchla Series 200, and I don't have no type of multiple arbitrary function generator. But what I do have is a DSI Prophet 6. The sequential Prophet 6 is Dave Smith's tribute to his groundbreaking analog polysynth, the Prophet 5. Driving this 6-voice synthesizer are 2 discrete VCOs plus a sub-oscillator per voice. Other features are 2 discrete filters per voice, a studio-grade digital dual effects section, analog stereo distortion, onboard arpeggiator and step sequencer, and a full-size 4-octave semi-weighted keyboard with velocity and aftertouch. Now, this is a more expensive polyphonic synthesizer, but this sound could definitely be made using a cheaper monophonic synth with the right effects processing. So you've heard the sound, we got the history out the way. Now let's get into the alchemy. All right, so I'm here in front of the Prophet 6. I'm gonna break the creation of this sound down into 5 steps. The first step is gonna be just creating the texture or quality of the sound. So let's just take a listen to the original sound real quick and just try to think about like the quality of the sound and what it is that we're trying to reproduce.
Butterfly.
What I'm noticing when I'm listening to this sound is that it has a very flute-like quality to it. I would say like a pan flute or some sort of a flutish texture. To me, that's like a sine wave or a square wave or some sort of combination of sine, triangle, square. So I'm gonna start with a triangle wave. I'm gonna turn oscillator 2 down for now. I'll do a triangle wave on oscillator 1. And now I'll mix in maybe a little square wave just to give it some overtones that could come in handy later on when we start adding some filtering. So let's bring that in. Maybe not too much, maybe just a little bit of that for now. And we'll just continue to dial it in as we go. So next we want to think about the shape of the sound. Of course, we're gonna head over to the envelope section over here. And we're gonna start with the amplifier envelope. And just a real quick overview about what the envelope settings do. Attack is basically how long it takes for the note to go from silence to its maximum level in terms of volume. The decay is how long it takes for the sound to reduce from its maximum level to its sustain level, which is what we select here. Sustain is basically how loud the sound is when we hold the key down. And the release is how long it takes for the sound to stop after we let go of the key. So the sound is really well designed in the sense that it really does sound like a fluttering or a flap of a wing when you listen to it. Let's play it one more time and then we'll try to recreate just the shape of one of those wing flaps. Thinking about the fluttering nature of the sound, I think a slower attack is probably best here. And because this is a fluttering sound, we don't necessarily want the note to sustain when we hold a key down. So I'm just gonna turn the sustain all the way down and allow that to just settle to 0. Now I'll adjust the decay time so it's not so abrupt. For the filtering, we're gonna use the same principles to kind of shape this sound to sound more like a flutter. So I'm just gonna bring this cutoff down here. And then I'm gonna turn up the amount here on the envelope. for the filter. And then I'm gonna start shaping this in a similar way. And I know this doesn't really sound like anything yet, but trust me, it's gonna get there. So I think we're at a good point now where we can program in some notes. So let me just use a sequencer here to program a pattern that's in the same key as the original song. Because the notes of the original piece were made using a randomizer, it's not gonna sound exactly the same, but what we will do is create a pattern that's in the same key and using similar notes. Let's just check the original just so we can match the tempo.
Butterfly in the sky.
So I think now we're starting to get into the vein of what we're looking for in terms of the texture and the shape of the sound. But now I think is a good time to bring in some of the most critical elements of this, and that's the effects section. So we're gonna start out with a delay, and that's really gonna help accentuate the fluttering nature of this sound. So we'll get a delay going here, and we'll sync. Let's just let this run. Y'all can really hear it starting to come together. Now, the last final piece of this puzzle that I think was the most elusive element of this sound is a phaser. If you listen closely, it sounds like there's a phase shifting that's happening in the original. Let's listen to it one more time.
Butterfly in.
It's super subtle, but I think it makes a big difference. So let's go in here and add a phaser. And I'm just gonna let this run while I adjust the settings. Just mix it in slightly. Let's listen to the original one more time, and then we'll do one more pass through of just sweetening.
Butterfly in the sky.
All right, let's listen to the original one more time, but I think we're there. Yeah, man. Yes, sir. So as you can see, this sound is pretty straightforward to make if you just break it down into sections. It's all good if your synth doesn't have the built-in effects section. You can just add the effects later in your DAW. So, how did it go? Did it do what it do? Only way to let me know is in the comments. So please, leave a message. Let me know what I should do next because I want to be inspired by you all. And please, if you like, if you're down to ride, subscribe. Peace, love, and vibes. My name is Mike, MMYYKK. Until next time.